Welcome to the future, where the glass is half full and you'll need new glasses, where you'll be jumping from conclusions.
The past is annulled, and a new future is born.
Never before in history has so much meant so little to so many. AD on the radio.
We have a breaking news story to tell you about. Apparently, a plane has just crashed into the World Trade Center.
So the building started to buckle.
The first World Trade Tower collapsed.
We now see the collapse of the second building.
I was on the phone with Vice President Cheney. He had informed me about the Pentagon being attacked.
Those who make war against the United States have chosen their own destruction.
The United States has conducted an operation that killed Osama bin Laden, who's responsible for the murder of thousands of innocent men, women, and children.
So it was 15 years ago. It was 15 years ago that I woke up in my home in New York City. I wasn't a boy anymore, but also still not yet a man. And looking out my window, I saw two plumes of smoke where the Twin Towers of the World Trade Center once stood. The terrorist attacks that claimed the lives of nearly 3,000 people brought untold grief and suffering and fear and anger, not only to people like me living in New York, but also to the rest of the nation and to the rest of the world. We will never, ever forget. But even now, as I mourn those that we lost, I'm ready. I think I'm ready to take some of this grief and some of this suffering and anger and honor the memories of those that we lost that day by finding a way to win. By finding a way to win through love. A love of our country and love of our fellow man. So I would ask you on September 11th to never forget. But also, if you can find it in your heart, to seek out a way to show love and appreciation to all that is good around you. Maybe a small gesture of kindness. Maybe the performing of a good deed, helping a friend, a relative, a neighbor. Maybe volunteering your time. I just hope that you remember and honor those that we lost by doing something positive so that they did not die in vain, but serve instead as an inspiration for how we live our lives. Always love, never surrender, and never forget. "15 years to the day, September 11th, a buddy of mine passed away. I'm not sure if it was late last night or early this morning. Not sure exactly of the details, other than that he was really young. But a buddy of mine called Derek is gone. And Derek was one of those people. So few people in this world that are a friend to all, friend to everyone they meet. And Derek was one of them. To meet this guy was to be touched by his warmth and touched by his smile. He was one of those guys that always made you feel good just by looking you in the eye and shaking your hand and giving you that big grin that all of us that knew him know so well. He had a pure positivity about him that was absolutely inescapable. And today, 15 years after the terrorist attacks of September 11th, 2001, a man who was beloved by all that knew him is no longer with us. And that's tough to take for everybody that knew him. The lesson for all of us lies in how much he was able to mean to so many of us in such a short time on this earth, though. He's gone, like lots of people are gone every single day. And that is indescribably difficult for those that knew him to accept. But what makes him different? What made Derek different? And what is a poetic reminder of what's important 15 years after September 11th is that Derek's life will forever continue as a shining example of how to do it right. Good night, my friend.
It's okay to disagree. It's not okay to be understimulated.
Well, I was just thinking that...
This is KPRC 950.
Where the left and right come together for fundamental truths. AD on the radio, on Twitter at ADSXE.
I do what I want, when I want, how I want. Every day you're going and working, running that rat race. That pace and that place will leave a bad taste for anyone, everyone, working day after day. So buddy, I gotta say, there's gotta be a better way, yeah. And you do a big...
So there couldn't be a more poignant reminder. There could not be a more poignant reminder of how you should be living than the untimely passing of my friend, Derek. Derek passing away almost 15 years to the day of the September 11th attacks. There's a real lesson for that in all of us, because Derek, if you're just joining us, was a guy who, like I said, to know him was to be touched by his warmth and his positivity and his smile. Everybody that knew him knows exactly what I'm talking about when I say that when you shook his hand and saw that grin of his, you knew you were in the presence of someone special. It's just this shining positivity. And he's gone, and that's tough. Indescribably difficult for people that knew him. So quick, so young, so difficult for people to accept. But like I was saying, the lesson for all of us lies in how much he was able to mean to so many in such a short time on this earth, how beloved he became to all that knew him. And if we're smart, we'll let his life forever continue as a shining example of how to do it right. Another buddy of mine who is very much alive and well, a guy called Kane, who you might know from the radio in New York. He said something that really, I think, resonates with all of us, especially those that were in or around New York at the time. He said, I can't stop thinking about 9/11. 15 years, really? I can't believe it. It doesn't get easier with time. As a matter of fact, yesterday was tougher than in many years. I don't know why. It made me start thinking about what I've done with the past 15 years that 3,000 of our fellow Americans never got to see. Have I lived life to the fullest? Not sure that I have, and that's not right. I've too often sulked or complained about comically unimportant things. I hope that you've lived your life to the fullest in the past 15 years, and I hope that you continue to do so. I'll try harder, too. It's the least we can do, praying for all. Wise words from my buddy Kane. And he's right. There was something about it this year. There was something about it. I'm not big on putting a bunch of stock in years. When you're 18, you think 21 means the end of the line. When you're 21, you think 25 means the end of the line. When you're 25, you think that turning 30, well, that's clearly where it all goes badly pear-shaped. And then from there on in, I think every time you have a birthday with a 0 at the end of it, or get closer to having a birthday with a 0 at the end of it, I think human nature is to think about things a little bit more. And I don't know. I've never put that much stock in it, mostly because you get to those ages, you hit those landmark birthdays, and you go, I don't really feel any different than I did yesterday. Let's keep moving on. But there's something about 15 years having gone by since September 11th, 2001, that I think has caught all of us in America unawares. If you're my age, Funkhauser's age, you're in your 20s, your early 20s when this happened. 15 years went in a blink of an eye. It really did. Feels like no time has elapsed whatsoever. Yet all of a sudden, it's 15 years later. And what have we done? How have we lived? Because you know what? That next 15 years is going to go by in another blink of an eye, and then we're all going to be in our 50s, those of us that were the same age. And that, I think, is a sobering thought. So the 15th anniversary of this unbelievable tragedy is a difficult one. Not just because of the loss we all experienced and the loss, senseless loss of lives, but also because it holds a mirror up to us and asks us, are we holding ourselves up to the standard that we feel like we should? Are we keeping the promises we made to ourselves and others in the face of unspeakable tragedy during 9/11? And the great thing about that is that even if you feel like you haven't been keeping those promises to yourself and to others, that can change. That can change today. It's really easy. It can change this very second. Now, for me, I find that the very best way to feel like I'm getting the most out of life, I feel like the very best way to feel like I'm getting the most out of life is to be of service to others. This little radio show where we goof off, where we make salacious and juvenile jokes about bodily functions on a regular, is really just our little way of trying to leave the world a little bit better than how we found it every single day. I do this because I love to know that maybe just once a day, once a week, I can bring some positivity to someone's life. And you can do that every single day. The moment you step outside the door, the first person that you meet, the best way to find yourself is to lose yourself in the service of others. Mahatma Gandhi.
Don't get the blues, get all the news. We mean all of you guys out there in Radio Land. All aboard!
He's back. AD on the radio.
Give it up, yeah. Give it up, yeah. Bring this on, come on, come on.
Alrighty then. Funkhauser, I think we need a little bit of a palate cleanser. That was a tough way to start Monday, right?
Well, yeah, it's been one of those things, you know. It's been around. It's hard to escape the weekend without it.
Yeah, it's true. So I figure that we can jump right onto something a little bit lighter and more easy to digest. The fact that the average woman has sent how many naked photos of herself to various people on the internet? What do you suppose that number might be? We'll tell you after the break, he said, auditioning for some corny-ass morning show. But it's true. This is a thing. Funkhauser, are there naked pictures of you floating around on the interwebs?
No, just naked gardening pictures around.
Oh, yeah. And that's not floating around. That's prominently displayed for everybody to see on Twitter.
Formerly
Unclean. Yeah. If you went to Funkhauser's Twitter for a long time, there was.
Yeah. There was those.
For such a little guy, you've got a really big butt. or was that just the camera angle?
I appreciate that. I work hard to make it that big.
Squats?
Donuts?
For the longest time, there was a picture of Funkhauser naked gardening on International Naked Gardening Day, because of course there's a day for that in this day and age. So there's not salacious naked pictures of you floating around. There's just you gardening and me all together.
I'm not the average girl.
Except for a strategically placed hat.
Yeah. Big hat, I might add. 10-gallon hat.
Yeah, I need to protect the top of my head from the rays. Everything else, let it just drift in the breeze. Okay. Well, we'll discuss how many naked pictures there are of the average woman floating around on the internet later on the show because we tackle the big issues around here. Right now, though, let's get to the news. Funkhauser, how are you and what is going on in the world?
This is My Witness News. In no way, shape, or form fair and certainly not balanced. And now, super producer to the stars, Barry Funkhauser.
Yes, we start off with breaking news here. Breaking news. A St. Louis man holds the record for world's largest afro.
Good. Glad we're continuing to tackle the big and important issues.
How big is the world's largest afro?
I don't...
I went to Google. I couldn't find it. There's just, generic pictures of afros.
Let's see here.
Cardstock. Free photos.
Yeah.
People.
I don't know. We'll figure out we'll figure out the size of the world's largest afro in a little bit. Where did you say this guy was from again?
St. Louis.
St. Louis man holds a record for the world's largest afro. Yet somehow, even when I'm nowhere near St. Louis, I seem to always wind up sitting behind him at the movies. It's unfortunate. Go on.
Britney Spears doesn't listen to her music.
Oh, that's where me and Britney Spears are the same.
Don't lie.
Don't
lie.
Britney Spears videos. This is why your laptop has a mute button.
Yeah, but you know every song.
Well, I think I know old school Britney. I'm aware of when I was making my album, the Swedish guy that wrote all of her songs for her and the Backstreet Boys. He was like one studio over. I think his name's Max Martin. He's unbelievably rich. He lives in some compound in Sweden. He's written songs for Britney Spears and the Backstreet Boys and Celine Dion. So he pretty much retired off of 3 albums worth of stuff and continues to crank out hits. And interestingly enough, old Max Martin that wrote all the songs for Britney Spears, a metalhead. Really, that's not his shtick at all. I think he was like, it's easy to write this stupid music. Here's an example of how easy it is. Oh, ka-ching. I never have to work again in the world. I never have to work again in my life. Wait for this one. Uh-oh, I did it again. I think my Swedish guy spent some time south of the border there, but you get the idea. But yeah, Max Martin apparently bit of a metalhead before he went off and wrote all the songs for all the people. Go on, what else?
Renee Zellweger says Kenny Chesney is not gay.
Yeah, and if there's anyone you can trust, it's the woman who denied doing anything to her face after arriving at a premiere looking like C-3PO. Totally natural, like this accent. Have you seen any of the Bridget Jones movies? People are excited for this?
I thought there was more than 2, but I guess one came out 20 years ago and then one's coming out. And they're trying to make it look like it hadn't happened. There hadn't been a 20-year span. So they're trying to young her up in the trailer, I guess. I don't know. I haven't seen it.
I thought there were 2. I thought there was Bridget Jones' Diary and then another one. And then 20 years later, because we've run out of ideas, let's do another one. Or aren't they based on a book?
Probably.
It's one of those things where there's a new one coming out. Maybe I'll binge watch all of them. I did that with X-Files. I'd watch X-Files a little bit back in the day when I was a kid, but I was like, oh, new X-Files. I'm going to watch them all and then be ready in time for the reboot on Fox. And I did, and it was awesome. And I thought maybe for a second I'd do the same thing with Bridget Jones because apparently there's boobs in it. I'm not sure, but I don't know. My enthusiasm for it isn't all that high, isn't it? Isn't it I
don't know. If it is, it's going to be British boobs, so...
Hey, nothing wrong with that. You know what's interesting about...
BBC on the middle of the day then, right?
Yeah, you really do. When I was a kid and moved to England, I remember turning on TV after 10 o'clock at night and seeing boobs. I was just like, oh my gosh. And then I think there was they cracked down on the A-Team for the violence in it. They were saying it's cartoonish, it's unrealistic. This gives a false impression. You can't fire at a cop car with machine guns, have the tires blow out. It goes 50 feet in the air, does 8 flips, and they crawl out going, boy, you okay, Sarge? That was a rough one. They're like, no, machine guns kill people, and it's not okay to have this level of violence on a kids show, and especially an unrealistic level of violence. Like, there was a big uproar over the violence on the A-Team, but you could show as many boobs as you wanted to. Whereas in America, you could show the violence but not the boobs. And I remember moving to England and being like, this is better. I'd rather see the boobs than the violence on the TV. I personally get more out of that.
I vote for that, yes.
So, there you go.
I'll learn the Queen's English for that.
I say.
Yeah.
Lovely jubblies.
Right.
Stay with me, look at the jubblies on that. Go on.
I'd probably accidentally learn Birmingham and talk like this. No one would like me.
That's not even close to Birmingham, but go on. Just the fact that you call it Birmingham, Birmingham.
Birmingham. The only reference I have is Oasis, so
right.
I'll be drunk and fight.
Drunk and have a 25-year-long feud with your brother. Go on.
Insiders say Tom Hiddleston dumped Taylor Swift because she was boring.
I could see that. It's got to be tremendously dull dating Taylor Swift. Like,
hey, I got
probably
an idea.
never
Let's
get to see her.
I'm cool.
Well,
Let's make up a story, and I'll write a song about it later, and then everyone will believe it's true.
She's got to be incredibly busy. And, you know, if you're a person that just wants to cater to somebody that's incredibly busy and kind of be a go-along and, you know,
I disagree.
Put yourself...
I don't think she's busy at all. I think it's all pretend. She's in there in that house just hanging out.
Maybe now. I don't know. Maybe now. Maybe he was expecting to be a go-along on world tours, and she's between albums, and all she likes to do is sit around the house and crochet with her cats. Maybe she was boring. I don't know.
Get all the answers wrong on Jeopardy.
Well, yeah, I don't know. If he thought Taylor Swift was boring, he obviously never heard the riveting song where she brilliantly rhymed play with hate. Go on.
Hey, she probably didn't even write that. Mariah Carey posted a photo of herself naked in a bathtub. Showing.
Yeah. Well, you bring up an interesting point with your 90s Saturday Night Live reference of showing. Relevant reference. Sadly, this is a story from 2016, not 1997. Aww. Go on.
Old newspaper.
Yeah.
Tim Tebow was signed by the Mets, but to the lowest rung of the minor league system.
Yeah, like he signed with the instructional league. And it's like, I don't know what you get paid for that. I think it's like barely a per diem. It's really, but yeah, like
is this where they teach you how to like pitch and hit and stuff?
Well, the expectation is that you can grow. This is something for people with raw talent that needs to be developed and fostered over a period of years. Now, Tim Tebow's like 29, and Sandy, the guy in charge over at the Mets, was like, yeah, we're aware he's 29, but he has some good raw talent. And look, everybody, the entire world came crashing down around my ears because I've made a certain amount of fun of Tim Tebow on the radio over the last couple of years. You know, when you rifle a pass directly into the dirt and claim that God is on your side, you leave yourself open to a certain amount of slings and arrows of criticism from yours truly. That said, I got what was coming to me when my beloved Mets signed Tim Tebow. Now, I haven't seen the man play baseball.
Yeah, maybe he's really good.
I don't think he is really good because otherwise he would have been signed to like, you know, AA or AAA.
A bunch of tickets and make everyone else better because there's...
Well, people will show up to see him play. It's like that Aroldis Chapman guy that was with the Yankees and now with the Cubs that throws the fastest fastball in the world. If you throw 105, people will buy tickets to go see that. And that alone. If you're Tim Tebow playing baseball, people will buy tickets to go see that and that alone. What I'm hoping and what every Met fan is hoping, though, is two things. One, maybe he's actually good at baseball. You never know. Two, he has the same agent as our beloved Yoenis Cespedes, the guy that hit a grand slam the other day and has hit home runs out the yang all season long and has a cannon of an arm that has thrown people out from deep in the outfield at home plate numerous times this season. And who has the ability to walk at the end of this year if he wants to. So he's got the same agent. And what I'm hoping, what every Mets fan is hoping, is that it's a situation. He's also one of the pitchers. It's not Noah Syndergaard, I don't think. I think it's.
I don't know.
Anyways, there's some other superstar Met that we want to keep that has the ability to walk, and I think it might have been. I hope what it was a situation of like, okay, you want to keep him, then you got to take him. You know what I mean? Like that's what we're all hoping, and we're also hoping that Tim Tebow might be good at baseball. So I guess
maybe
the fact that Tim Tebow signed by the Mets to the lowest rung of the minor league system is proof of the fact that sometimes when God closes a window, He opens a door to the basement. But you know what? He's starting at the basement level, and I can respect that.
Yeah.
Go on. What else?
Oh, something's printing out from the This Just In department.
Oh.
Tomorrow on the show, programming note, it says Monique Powell from Save Ferris will be on the show tomorrow.
No kidding.
Yeah. Remember this song?
I do. I'm fairly certain that back in the day, I toured with Save Ferris for a little bit.
Yeah, it's like the second ska revolution from like the late 90s.
I believe we were on a Warped Tour together for at least a few dates.
Yeah, they played 96, 97, 98, I think. That was about it.
I think we might have been on the 98 Warped Tour with Save Ferris. And they were, like, really big. I had a problem, though. I did not enjoy ska music at the time. And, like, it was all ska music all the time. And, like, some of them were really, really nice guys. It was just like, but I was just like, no trombones. No trombones. No trumpets. A trumpet's in the hand of the wrong person. It's just a megaphone for telling the world.
The high school band has to go somewhere after high school.
It's just a...
Well, you're going to like what they have...
trumpet in the hands of the wrong person is just a megaphone for telling the world that you suck. But that said, like, when we finished this one Warped Tour, I was like, that's it. I'm scod for life. That was the expression I used. But in retrospect, I really sort of admire... the people that were a part of that. Because you know what? I realized with the passage of time, like I stepped out of high school into all that sort of stuff while I was still in high school. It all happened. So just like this is what you do. You start a band, it gets signed, you go on the road. That's that, you know, I see now with in retrospect how much work it takes to put all that together. Plus all those ska bands did something that I have no idea how they managed to do that. And that was they would all tour in bands, and when you have like, you know, when you have a 5-piece band, a lead singer, and then a horn section of 3 or 4 people, that's a crowded 16-passenger van that everybody was in on the Warped Tour. So I have tons of respect. This is part of our punk rock politics, where we're talking to various musicians and various punk rock folks, like we did with Tim C. of Rage Against the Machine and Prophets of Rage last week. Not necessarily for any other reason than we want to know what people think and why they think that. We're not here to judge. We're not here to argue with people. But for me, the win in any kind of situation where people are divided is taking the time to understand why people feel the way they do. Don't have to agree with them, but there's a much better chance in us learning something from one another and actually getting closer to that American dream of having a home and having a roof and being able to provide for our kids and have meaningful work if we can build a bridge of understanding, even with people that we disagree with.
Instead of standing under a bridge.
Instead of standing under a bridge. I think I used too many prepositions in that sentence. In my,
No, I'm into it. I got it.
Okay.
I think they got it too.
Never end a sentence with a prepositional phrase. Mofo.
Now, more AD on the radio.
So if you're a female, I want you to quickly try and figure out something in your head. If you're a female, I want you to try and figure out how many naked pictures of you there are floating around the internet. Now, in the past, if somebody had naked pictures, that was absolutely scandalous. There might be some Polaroids lying around somewhere. That was... That was until the advent of the digital camera, and then the fact that that predates the advent of the digital camera and people putting digital cameras into telephones. Now, I think like the vast majority of us go, "Wonder what I look like naked." Click, not good, delete. But there's this new kind of. There's this new way of dating and relating to one another that sometimes, like generally speaking, you need to go on. Back in the day, you needed to go on various dates before you got to see somebody naked. Like, and what was the rule? By the third date, it tends to be when there's going to be some viewage of some stuff and possibly a little between the sheets action. It was 3 dates, I think, was a cutoff point. Now, with the way things go with Tinder and Snapchat and all these different forms of medias that are social and ways people date and meet each other, I don't believe that it is uncommon to show somebody the goods before you even meet them in person. So bearing that in mind, I want you, if you're a female, to mentally calculate the number of naked photos of you that exist on the internet. And we'll talk about whether you are above or below the average a little later on in the show, because we tackle the big issues around here. Right now, though, let's continue with the news. Funkhauser, what else is going on in the world?
If you share something on Facebook, it says you're more likely to remember it. That's true.
And your friends are more likely to remember that you're annoying. You know what drives me nuts? People that share things and go like, saving this to read for later. No! You can't be bothered to read it yourself. Don't recommend that I read it. Read it, then say, you might enjoy this. Like, I want proof now. When people share an article, I want some sort of information from the middle of that article showing that it's been read. Like, I want to see you quote something that meant something to you within it, that, like, hey, you should really read this. And then tell me what it. Yeah. Like, I hate the people that go, you should really read this. And what they should say is, you should really read this because I can't be bothered and I want you to explain it to me. Jerks. Go on.
2 dolphins were recorded having conversation in much the same way that humans do.
Yeah, dolphin conversation. This is impressive and interesting stuff. What, you saw this?
I saw this. I saw it. I can explain it.
So you want to go ahead and explain it?
So the dolphin people, the people that are teaching dolphins, have taught them a command called create. And create means do something that we didn't teach you. Freestyle. So they just tried, and the dolphins know a command called together. Together means do it with the other dolphins, right? So they tried to put create and together, and what they came out with was couple dolphins saying, "Hey, but let's do it circle," and the other one says, "Oh, okay," and then they do a circle together.
No kidding.
Yeah, there's a video. Out there too.
in India, where India is such a mixed bag. Because, like, you can still get stoned to death in the street for being a homosexual in India. Like, people in India, they've got a real sort of, like, cleanliness and hygiene problem that they're dealing with there, where people just go, I need to go to the bathroom. I'll just drop trow and do it here in the street, no matter what number it is. Crazy. But they're enlightened to the point where they have recognized dolphins as non-human persons. That's what they're called over there, non-human persons. And you're basically not allowed to mess with a dolphin under any circumstances ever, because it's viewed as messing with a human being, which is crazy, because when you think about it, it means that in India, you're better off being a dolphin than you are being gay. But yeah, dolphins are widely regarded as being really, really intelligent. And now these 2 dolphins were recorded having a conversation in much the same way that humans do. I believe in addition to what you were describing, Funkhauser, they're also saying, can you believe the 2 idiots we have to vote for this year? I think scientists also did a little further research. They couldn't figure out exactly what the female was saying, but they believe the male was just repeating, "Yes, dear," over and over again. Up next, an octopus that can send a text message. Go on.
Quickly. A woman was arrested after attacking 2 Muslims as they pushed their strollers in New York.
Right. Terrible. Though in happier news, the woman has just been named Chief Foreign Policy Advisor for Donald Trump. Go on.
Secretary of State John Kerry announced an agreed plan between the United States and Russia for a ceasefire in Syria.
We went after Trump. We went after Trump a little bit there. So we should probably talk some smack about John Kerry as well, because, what's good for the right is good for the left.
Figure.
The John Kerry action figure?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess, despite the good news of brokering this important deal, John Kerry still had a long face. It's funny because he looks like Mr. Ed. Go on.
Kim Jong-un has banned sarcasm in North Korea? Seriously.
I don't know how you could function without sarcasm. Like, that's how I survive. It really, sarcasm is possibly the most effective coping method for the slings and arrows of life that exists, and to have that taken away from you Crazy. Kim Jong-un has banned sarcasm in North Korea. Upside of that, ever since then, not one person has said to him, hey, great haircut. What else?
Mm-hmm. The Army is revisiting their training techniques to accommodate millennials.
Oh.
Maybe.
New Army training techniques for the younger generation?
I don't know, if you want. I
guess. For now.
Sure.
That perhaps instead of calling troops filthy maggots and forcing them to do push-ups, drill instructors will now spend their days reminding new recruits of just how special they are and handing them giant trophies for showing up. Go on!
Hey, teen pregnancy rates have gone down as sexting has grown more popular.
Oh, well, thank you, Anthony Weiner. Well done.
You should ask Brandy about that sexting app that she does, because she's in that thing. She's having fun on that app. Sexting is up.
Sexting is up,
and
actual contact. Sexting is up, and actual contact is down. Is from what I understand. Well, this plays nicely into the whole idea of having naked pictures of yourself floating around on the internet if you're a female. How many do you think there are in existence of you circulating around the interwebs? And believe me, they're circulating. You might think they were only for that one person. Oh, they're circulating. We'll talk about that when we return.
Always fair and mentally unbalanced. KPRC AM 950, Houston's more stimulating talk radio.
There's something happening here, and you should know what it is. The dumbing up of America. Now, more AD on the radio.
Funkhauser, how much time do we have left?
13 minutes and 10 seconds. Beep.
All right, we got some time for some more news. Let's do some more news.
Okay. Let me signal the band. Come on back in, band. Sit there for 13 minutes and play that. A truck carrying bacon burst into flames on a Maryland freeway.
Yeah. First responders included firemen and paramedics and Chris Christie with bread, lettuce, and a tomato.
Gonna have to shut this down for an unknown amount of time while I work on this.
All right, we're gonna have to pull the bridge on this number. Let me get in there and really help the people. Go on.
You know, you said Chris Christie reminded me that there's a donut somewhere in the hallway. I just forgot on the way in here. True
Krispy Kreme?
True story.
Krispy Kreme. How is there a porn star called Krispy Kreme? Because it really sounds like there should be one.
That is gross, and I'm not going to Google that. Not my digital footprint. Thank you.
Yeah, don't need that on the company Google. Go on.
A German man created incredibly detailed...
Can you do this in a German accent, please?
I can try. As German man created incredibly detailed Lego versions... See, I only have Russian. I can only do Eastern European.
Eastern European,
of Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire.
Oh, yeah. I saw the pictures of this on the internet. They're... You know, I have this theory that some of the greatest things that have ever been accomplished, or some of the most impressive things that have ever been accomplished, were all achieved by somebody that had entirely too much time on their hands. I believe Albert Einstein once described his genius as being tinkering. Like, he was like, I just tinker with stuff until I figure things out. Like, Albert Einstein didn't necessarily go in there with an agenda. He was like, I got some time on my hands. I'm going to put my enormous brain to use and effectively change the world. And if he'd been busy doing other stuff, he might not have had a chance to create this. Similarly, this German man, if he'd had, a life, wouldn't have been able to create these incredibly detailed and intricate Lego versions of Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. I believe they wanted to talk to his wife about it, but she couldn't be reached for comment because she's a Japanese sex doll. Go on.
How much do those run these days? I wonder.
I don't know. But I think you have to ask yourself this question when you say stuff like, how much does a Japanese sex doll cost, Funkhauser? You need to ask yourself the question, did I think that or did I say that out loud?
Oh, everyone heard that? Oh, dang it.
Yeah.
Ryan Lochte won't, be allowed to visit the White House with, Team USA.
Yeah. He's been banned from swimming for, what is it, a year? 10 months, I think it was. He was banned from swimming for 10 months for his Olympic shenanigans. Yeah.
I exaggerated that.
He exaggerated at an Olympic level, and for that reason, he's banned from swimming and will not be allowed to visit the White House with Team USA. Evidently, the White House only welcomes liars who are elected. Oh! Provocative. Go on.
Donald Trump, which I'm working on my Donald Trump impersonation. Want to hear it? It's just
go on.
It's just okay 3 times. That's as far as I've gotten. Okay. I can't get.
You know what? Donald Trump's a hard one to nail, and no one's really gotten it right. But I've heard people stressing the L's in a certain way. I like it a lot. A lot.
Maybe I hold my nose. Okay.
No, he's not nasal. I like it a lot.
I like it a lot. Okay.
No, see, we sound like Valley Girls. It's a really tough one to do. You know what? Yeah. Donald Trump is a one-of-a-kind individual, and for that reason, his accent is a hard one to nail. Because he's from New York, but he sounds like no other New Yorker that I've ever really talked to. But go on.
Donald Trump has unveiled his plan to destroy ISIS by boosting the military.
And Hillary Clinton has revealed her plan to destroy ISIS by coughing on all their leaders until they get sick and die. What the hell is going on with that? You know what? It's kind of something that we have to talk about a little bit.
It's just a mic problem.
If we skirt around it, if we skirt around the whole situation, I'm just not in the mood. But it's one of those things where people are going to jump all over us and be like, "You're clearly taking a side by not putting out the sick elephant in the room." And here's the deal. She was apparently, and this is a story that they're going with, diagnosed with pneumonia. She became overheated. She fell ill at a September 11th memorial ceremony. And this made people really go, oh, you know how we said she was dying and shouldn't have her finger on the button for that reason? More of that. There's less than 2 months before voters elect the next president of these United States of America and indeed a leader of the free world. And so it's reasonable to question someone's medical readiness for such a gig. She had a medical examination when she got back to her home in Chappaqua, New York. And according to her campaign aide, said she'd been experiencing a cough related to allergies and that an examination showed she was suffering from pneumonia.
Yeah.
Pneumonia is serious stuff. And it's just, I got to admit, how old is she? 69 now? 68, 69?
Old enough to die from pneumonia. Easily.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's not a cheery thing, but I know some folks that have passed away from this stuff, and this is a potentially life-threatening situation.
But she's totally going to lose if she says that.
Well, I mean, here's the I don't know. Do you think, if she says I have, is her health really going to change anyone's mind at this point? Do you think there's anybody that's not made up now?
I hope not, but probably.
I don't know. I don't think it'd be a bad move if they release more information about her health, unless her health is not good. It makes me nervous. Allegations of pneumonia, allegations of brain aneurysms, allegation of autoimmune and neurological problems. All these things have been bandied around the internet. All that aside, I just feel very uneasy with her and Trump being the ages that they are, looking at a potential 8-year run in the White House. It really gives me cause for pause. And
makes me think about the VPs, too.
Yeah, Trump's also been under a certain amount of pressure to release detailed information on his health and medical history. And the closest thing that we've gotten to that is back in December, Trump's doctor wrote in a short letter that was made public that his blood pressure and laboratory results were astonishingly excellent and that he would be, and I quote, the healthiest individual ever elected to the presidency.
Huge.
Does this inspire confidence? It's very... It's very Kim Jong-esque in the way it's worded. He would be the healthiest person ever to rule. You know? I don't know. But yeah, no, I've got great cause for pause about both of them. Donald Trump seems significantly more spry at the moment than Hillary, not having the pneumonia to slow him down, not having had a fainting spell. But it's just like, no. When Ronald Reagan was president, I remember a guy called Billy Connolly, an English comedian, said, like, that guy was younger than my father, and we didn't even give my father the remote control to the TV anymore.
Yeah, I wonder how that would happen, because, you know, old Ronnie was up there and wasn't really making half sense, and people were... I wonder how that played. I'm a little too young to speak on it, but... I don't really know what was going on, but there were... And I don't know how much truth there is to much of this, but, like, I think he was totally with it and cognizant and lucid for the first term, and then the last couple years of the last term, well,
I think
it depends on who you ask, though. I mean, it's same spin. These are absolutely stories, and I don't believe that it's been proven one way or another. I want to be very clear with what we're saying here. Do we think that Hillary has a brain aneurysm? No, but I think I don't know, but I think it's our right to know about the medical condition of people that are going to have their finger on a button that could send us all into instant global Armageddon. All right.
Mentally and physically. Go on.
Insiders... Oh, wait, no, I already said that a long time ago. Hold on a second here. I talked to you about teen pregnancy. Ryan Lochte, yeah. Daniel Craig has been offered $150 million to return for 2 more James Bond movies.
Yeah, Daniel Craig's been Bond for a long time, and he's bored of being Bond, so he decided to bail on being Bond. And the people that were making the Bond movies decided they didn't want to find a new Bond, so they offered the old Bond a lot of cash. And I don't think he's officially accepted it yet, which means he's got so much money that $150 million isn't that big of a thing to him. But Daniel Craig has been offered $150 million to return for 2 more James Bond flicks. Good for him, said all my friends with a bachelor's degree currently earning less than minimum wage. Good for him. It's the amount of, it's one of those things. If you're offered that much money to do something as simple as make a movie, like artistic principles be hanged. You make James Bond flicks; they're highly entertaining, but let's be real here. If you're turning that amount of money down over an issue of artistic integrity, I think that's silly. I think that's $150 million, and even if you don't want it for yourself, do something awesome with that $150 million. Solve world hunger. That could take a big chunk out of it. Come on.
Can you name?
Go on.
Can you name 3 of them that have done that with that? I can only think of Bill Gates. With a guy with a bunch of money.
I think there's certain, but
I wish there were more.
I think there's certain amounts of folks that, A, for tax reasons, it's a smart tax move. B, there's a philosophy of wealth, which we wouldn't know anything about because we're broke. But like, there's a philosophy of wealth that you give away sort of like 10% of what you make. And, it's sort of people that will tell you money and opulence and prosperity is a state of mind, and you get what you give. And if you put out, like, I know that a lot of people actually swear by that and give away a little bit here and there every single year. So, the people that make the grandiose gestures, like the Bill Gateses of this world, you hear about that. But I think there's folks that do it in smaller increments a lot of the time. That's what I think. That's what I'm choosing to believe, because I believe in the moral fiber of people. I have faith in humanity. I do. I also have faith that there might be naked pictures of your girlfriend floating around the internet, Funkhauser. Why?
Why does everybody keep saying that?
Because that would make her average if there were. Here's the thing. Okay, let me ask you this. You met Canadian Jane on Tinder, correct?
Yeah.
Did you, okay.
I didn't meet her naked on Tinder.
I've never had like a Tinder account. So like, what is it? It works with your Facebook, and there's like 4 pictures?
Yeah, like 4 or 5 pictures. She had 3.
Right, and they all come from your Facebook.
Or wherever.
Okay, so all right. I thought for some reason Tinder was linked with Facebook.
Yeah, they default your profile picture, but you can change that.
Okay, gotcha. So Tinder, there are 4 pictures. Is nudity allowed on Tinder?
No, I don't think so. I think every picture has to be approved by the Tinder people.
Okay. But can they privately message you naked pictures?
I don't think you can message pictures on there unless they've upgraded it since I met Canadian Gene.
Oh,
which would
interesting.
Be a year.
I didn't know that. Congratulations. Well done. Good job. You're doing your thing. We're all proud of you. That's awesome news. Like, we have to be on Snapchat for work. And I was talking to some of the engineers that were in the studio fixing some stuff the other day. I was like, do you guys like use Snapchat? And they're like, yeah, we're friends on Snapchat. Thanks for noticing. I was like, I'm kind of on it because I have to be. They're like, most we use it for girls. I was like, do girls send you naked pictures? They're like, hell yeah. And then you can decide if you want to continue the conversation. According to a new survey, the average woman has sent nude photos to 7 people. 7. 1 in 4 of them have sent nude photos to someone they met in line before they'd even met them face to face. And 2/3 of those women say they never even wound up getting together with the person that now has naked photos of them. Majority of the women not worried about where the photos ended up or who saw them. Go figure.